failing her. It was so long of a torture. So long of a torture, so many days after day after day.
Right now at 5:30, did the system fail her? New information on the death of a little girl who prosecutors say was tortured. Good evening, I'm Christine Johnson.
Welcome back. I'm Jessica Moore. Emotions ran high today in a Suffolk County courtroom as 3 generations of the same family faced a judge, all accused in the shocking death of that 7-year-old girl.
Jordan Duncan had been placed in their Bayport home by court order. As Carolyn Gussoff reports, the courtroom was packed with heartbroken supporters of the child.
She always had a smile on her face, always happy.
Jordan Duncan's smile was on dozens of pink shirts as family and supporters packed the courtroom. They came seeking answers. How the 7-year-old was placed by a judge in the home of Emily Kelly, where prosecutors allege a year of torture led to her December death.
How could this child have all these things going on and nobody see it? You know, were they blind?
Prosecutors allege repeated abuse. The child tied up in a bathtub and videotaped. An autopsy documented more than 90 injuries. She missed 40 days of school. In each case, Kelly provided an excuse. Sources say school officials did not report and were not required to report her absences to authorities without suspicions of abuse.
The system failing her, it was so long of a torture. So long of a torture, so many days after day after day.
Jordan's mother had lost custody amid alleged drug use. Her father incarcerated. Sources say the child was placed with Kelly, the child's father's fiance, with his approval.
No kid should ever suffer the way my granddaughter suffered. CPS needs to answer. The schools need to answer.
Kelly, her mother Barbara Renner, and daughter Elisa Seymour are all charged. Kelly's accused of depraved indifference murder.
That requires cruel and wickedness. We don't think that this conduct of my client even comes close. The fact that she's charged along with her mother and her daughter is shocking to her.
One at a time, each woman stood silent in front of the judge. Cameras were not allowed after their attorneys argued that the public seeing them in jail clothing and handcuffed would harm their defense. The child's families compiled a legal team to investigate what went wrong.
Those who were assigned to protect her didn't.
For now, supporters are focused on the little girl who will never grow up.
We love her so much and we missed her.
And seeking justice. In Riverhead, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS News, New York.
Now, today's court date was about making sure both sides have exchanged the necessary information for preparing for the next phase of this case.
Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome back to On the Shoulders of Giants. I am Joseph Ward. Before we get deep, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe to this channel. If you have not already subscribed, hit that notification bell so you can make sure you're notified when a new video comes out, and make sure you hit that hype button. The hype button allows this video to go further into the algorithm and more people to see this video and support the content that's on this channel. Now, today we're saying the name of a child who should still be here, young Jordan Duncan. She was only 7 years old, 7, old enough to laugh, play, dream, ask questions, and believe that the adults around her were supposed to support her. But according to prosecutors in Suffolk County, Jordan was placed in the care of adults who allegedly tortured her, isolated her, denied her medical care, and watched her body deteriorate until she passed away. Authorities said she had around 90 injuries to her body. They say she died from a massive untreated infection connected with a sharp force injuries. Basically, she was poked, stabbed. They say much of the abuse was documented on phones and cloud accounts. They say she missed around 40 days of school while excuses were allegedly made to cover up what was happening. But today, we're not only asking what happened inside the house, we're asking what happened outside the house. Who checked on Jordan? Who approved the placement? Who followed up? Who saw the absences? Who believed the excuses? Who had authority? Who had responsibility? And why was a little black girl left so alone? This is bigger than one case. This is about how vulnerable black children can become when they are moved through systems without enough protection, when their families are fragmented, when schools do not intervene, and when child welfare agencies pass responsibility, and when our community finds out after the funeral instead of before the tragedy. Jordan Duncan deserved protection, she deserved love, and she deserved financial care. She deserves adults who saw her humanity. So tonight, we're asking questions, and we're trying to look as deep as we can into all the information we have. Not for clicks, but for making sure that the story gets out so more people can understand what happened to Jordan, but also look at the bigger picture of how vulnerable we are as a people, how vulnerable our children are, and we can do things to help keep our children protected. So let me share my screen. I have these articles we're gonna get into, and I have my notes. Now let me remove this. All right, do this full screen so we can get into the articles. So 3 generations of women were arrested in New York after a 7-year-old girl died following abuse and torture, the authorities said. On December 29th, 2025, at approximately 10:30 a.m., 50-year-old Emily Kelly allegedly called police to report that Jordan Duncan was in cardiac arrest. And they're saying she went into cardiac arrest, and that was what ultimately claimed her life. But of course, she went into cardiac arrest because of all of the torture that she was going through. Over 90 injuries to her body and a massive puncture wound. She's 7. These people need their ass whooped. If these people actually did this, they need their ass whooped. Of course, you know we got to say allegedly. So they're what's the first name? Emily Kelly, you need your ass whooped. First responders found the child unconscious and took her to a hospital where she died from her injuries. And this is a picture of her. Beautiful young lady. An autopsy determined that Jordan died from a massive untreated infection, the source which was a sharp force injuries. Basically, she was punctured. In total, officials documented nearly 90 injuries on her body at the time of her death. The investigation revealed Kelly is Jordan's father's fiance. In December 2024, Child Protective Services placed Jordan with Kelly at Kelly's request. And in April 2025, Kelly gained full custody and guardianship of the child. What was going on? Especially you see the grandmother and all these other family members. Why was she not living with the other family members and living with Kelly? Following her death, it was discovered that Jordan missed nearly 40 days of school between January and June of 2025. So even there, so okay. Truancy. Because that's past truancy. So nobody anywhere in that school system decided to be curious of why such a sweet young lady, everybody has great things to say about her. So the community is coming out in droves to support her. So such a sweet young lady. Nobody had questions about why she missed so many days of school. Nobody had questions about why she's living with her father's fiance and not with actual family members. What was going on with the family? What was going on with the father and the family? What was going on with the father and Kelly? Why wasn't she with the father? Kelly allegedly provided fabricated excuses involving different illnesses, death in the family, and a trip to Disney World, all of which were allegedly used to conceal the abuse. Kelly was indicted Wednesday for the M word, reckless endangerment, unlawful imprisonment, and endangerment to the welfare of a child. She's been held on a $5 million cash or a $10 million bond. Kelly's mother, 75-year-old Barbara Renner, and Kelly's daughter, 24-year-old Alyssa Seymour, were also indicted. So Barbara need her old ass whooped, and Alyssa need her ass whooped too. Of course, we got to say allegedly, since they are allegedly the culprits in here. They need their ass whooped. They are the caretakers of this young lady. They were there with the young lady. They were there with Jordan. They were there. They were the ones caring for her. Or they were the ones who were supposed to be caring for her. They were the adults in charge of Jordan at the time of Jordan's death. They were the adults who were in charge of Jordan. Who else could have done this? The lawyers talking about they're shocked at these. Who else could have done this? If she's in your care, she's in the house with 3 women. Who else could have done this? Renner was charged with second-degree manslaughter and endangering the welfare of a child. She's being held on a $50,000 cash or a $500 bond. Seymour was charged with unlawful imprisonment and endangering the welfare of a child. She was ordered and held on $25,000 cash or $250,000 bond. All 3 women are due back in court on June 23rd. So we missed that, June 23rd. All right. So I have this article came out May 22nd. So I have this other article. Okay, so this article is June 23rd. Okay. I don't want nothing playing. But 3 generations of women were all related, pleaded not guilty in the death of a 7-year-old girl who prosecutors say was tortured and abused before she died. Emily Kelly, who's 50, her mother, Barbara Renner, we know she's 75, and Alyssa Seymour appeared in court on Tuesday. The courtroom was packed with family, friends, and supporters of Jordan Duncan, who died on December 29th. Prosecutors say she endured prolonged neglect and abuse, much of which was recorded on the cell phone before dying from an infection from her injuries. So do they have the cell phone footage? Because if they got the cell phone footage, then what we talking about alleged for? Right? The 7-year-old had about 90 injuries to her body, like we said earlier, according to the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office. On Tuesday, people cried, hugged, and even some stepped out of the courtroom as the women accused of committing torture faced the judge. The Suffolk County District Attorney said the child died after months of alleged systematic cruelty and sadistic abuse that was meticulously documented. Kelly has been charged with second-degree murder. She pled not guilty at the arraignment. My client asserts her innocence, and we are vigorously going to defend her throughout these proceedings, said defense attorney John Lutorco. And John Lutorco, there's a special place in hell for people like you. There's a special place in hell for people like John Lutorco who will even take this case. Kelly is the fiance of the child's father okay, so the daddy is in prison. That's how she gained full custody. But what about the other family members once again? What about the other family members? The 3 women are facing a slew of charges. Kelly's 75-year-old mother is being charged with second-degree manslaughter, and her 24-year-old daughter is charged with unlawful imprisonment. The victim's half-brother and biological mother were in court, and her attorney spoke afterward. We're currently examining were there any system flaws or failures, said attorney Heather Palmore. As people left the Riverhead courthouse, a large fight broke out among those wearing pink for the young girl outside in the parking lot. Court officers ran outside to break it up. The judge asked for the discovery to be turned over to the defense team by the next court date at the beginning of August. Oh, man, and they out there fighting and stuff, man. And they out there fighting. It's a lot of questions that got to be asked, man. It's a lot of questions that got to be asked in this. The defendants have pleaded not guilty to the untimely passing of Jordan Duncan. Who else did it? Who else was around Jordan? Who else was Jordan with? You all were the primary custodians of Jordan, and you have cell phone footage of things that you were doing to her and her injuries. You have cell phone footage of it. What are we talking about? So the torturing happened in December. Kelly got custody of Jordan in December 2024 and gained full custody in 2025. So prosecutors believe that the abuse believe that the abuse began as early as January of 2025 and included restraint, trigger warning. The torture included restraint, physical torture, and there were other unrelated injuries, and including a lack of medical care, an intentional lack of medical care. Investigators reportedly recovered photos and videos from Kelly's phone and cloud accounts documenting prolonged abuse. So what you mean they throw their asses up under the jail? I know there's a process, but throw them up under the jail. And you know, like it's another log on the fire when people are saying that they don't think black children should be adopted by white people. And of course, that's not an absolute statement. And of course, some black people are crazy, but in this is another case. Remember, not too long ago, I did a video of the white couple who adopted 5 black kids and tortured them and abused them. Unfortunately, Jordan died. But there are a number of cases of white families adopting black children and having custody of black children and torturing them. Once again, she missed 40 days of school and nobody asked questions. So Jordan was failed by all the adults around her. Every last adult that was around Jordan failed her. Every last one of them. All them people out there with them shirts on saying that they feel bad. Now, all of you all failed her. All of you all who loved her should have fought to make sure she was in your custody. You should have fought to make sure you knew what was going on. Y'all should have been checking on Jordan every day and not taking no for no answer. For her to be in that environment, all the adults failed her. And then they say, you know, Kelly called 911 after Jordan went into cardiac arrest after suffering. Hell, she got a gaping puncture wound on her body at 7 with 90 plus injuries to her body. What the hell you expect? He was found unconscious, taken to the hospital, and pronounced dead. Autopsy found she died from massive untreated infection, from that massive stab wound plus those 90 injuries. So who approved the placement and custody of Jordan in Kelly's care? Who approved that? CBS reported a dispute. Prosecutors said Jordan was placed with Kelly by Suffolk County Family and Children's Services, while County Executive Ed Romaine said placement was done by a family court judge. But why was she chosen over other family members? CPS, y'all might have said CPS or family court. One of y'all fucked up. Why were 40 school absences not enough to trigger a deeper investigation? Suffolk lawmakers reportedly called for a review, while CBS reported that school officials may not have been required to report absences without suspected abuse. But everybody's saying they cared for Jordan, though. Whether you was required or not, y'all saying that y'all cared about Jordan. So if you cared about Jordan so much, why are we here? Why didn't y'all check on Jordan? How was Jordan isolated? Her grandmother, Alicia Case, told CBS that Kelly kept her from being alone with Jordan and that loved ones only saw her a few times in the final year. Man, they should have did everything in their power to make sure they saw Jordan as much as possible. And I understand Kelly was the legal guardian, but they should have did everything. And I'm just wondering, how did she become the legal guardian? Where's Jordan's mother? Like, Jordan, where's her mother? This is a Total systematic failure. This is a total failure of all the adults in Jordan's life. Black children are vulnerable. Black children will always be vulnerable when institutions, courts, schools, child welfare systems, and even their own family and their community fail to protect them, especially when they are placed in homes where family, cultural, and community accountability is weak. Nationally, Black children remain overrepresented in foster care. In 2023, Black children were 22% of children entering care, while only 14% of the child population. Child maltreatment fatality data shows severe racial disparity. The Child Welfare League of America summarized 2023 data showing African American child fatality rates were 3.1 times higher than white children and 3.4 times higher than Hispanic children. So what that means is when Black children are removed, replaced, ignored, isolated, and mistreated by systems that do not fully value them, including their family and their community, the danger is not just the abusive adult in the house. The danger is every institution that had a chance to notice and failed, and all of the adults and all of the institutions and systems around Jordan Duncan failed her. And y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. And I want to stay connected to the story because I want to see what happens in this trial. So we're going to keep abreast on this. I want us to sit with this story as we close this out, as I close this out, rather. Jordan Duncan was not just a headline. She was not just a court case. She was a child, a Black girl, a daughter, a student, a little girl with a voice that too many people never got to hear clearly enough before it was too late. And that is that is the part that should trouble us. Abuse thrives in isolation. Abuse thrives when children are cut off from people who love them. Abuse thrives when systems trust paperwork more than patterns, when absences are explained away, when custody decisions are made without enough follow-up, and when nobody forces the question, is the child safe? Justice must happen in court, but justice cannot stop in court. Justice also means asking how the system allowed this. Justice means demanding policies that treat repeated school absences as warning signs. Justice means requiring real welfare checks after placement. Justice means listening to family members who say something does not feel right. Justice means building stronger Black community networks so our children are not left alone in dangerous spaces. Jordan Duncan's story should break our hearts, but it should also sharpen our responsibility. We cannot save her now, but we can honor her by refusing to let her name disappear. We can honor her by demanding accountability from every adult, every agency, every school, every system that ever had a chance to protect her. Say the name of Jordan Duncan, and after we say her name, let's now get to work to protect the next child. And with that being said, I am Joseph Ward. This is On the Shoulders of Giants. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday. Please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share, hype this video, and make sure you catch the next video coming up. Peace out.